Narrated Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, Allah's apostle, said, "No calamity befalls a Muslim, but that Allah expiates some of his sins because of it, even though it were the prick he." Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri and Abu Hurairah, the Prophet said, "No fatigue, nor disease, nor sorrow, nor sadness, nor hurt, nor distress befalls a Muslim, even if it were the prick he receives from a thorn, but that Allah expiates some of his sins for that." Narrated Ka'b, the Prophet said, "The example of a believer is that of a fresh tender plant, which the wind bends sometimes, and some other time it makes it straight, and the example of a hypocrite is that of a pine tree, which keeps straight till once it is uprooted suddenly." Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's apostle, said, "If Allah wants to do good to somebody, he afflicts him with trials." Narrated Aisha, I never saw anybody suffering so much from sickness as Allah's apostle. Narrated Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, the Prophet said, "Feed the hungry, visit the sick, and set free the captives." Narrated Al-Bara bin Azib, Allah's apostle ordered us to do 7 things and forbade us to do 7 other things. He forbade us to wear gold rings, silk, dibaj, istabric, kissi, and maithara, and ordered us to accompany funeral processions, visit the sick, and greet everybody. Narrated Ada, that he had seen on Zafar, the tall black lady, at holding the curtain of the Kaaba. Narrated Anas bin Malik, I heard Allah's apostle saying, Allah said, "If I deprive my slave of his beloved things, i.e., his eyes, and he remains patient, I will let him enter paradise in compensation for them." Narrated Anas, a Jewish boy used to serve the Prophet and became ill. The Prophet went to pay him a visit and said to him, "Embrace Islam." And he did embrace Islam. Al-Musayyab said, when Abu Talib was on his deathbed, the Prophet visited him. Narrated Ibn Umar, we used to compare the people as to who was better during the lifetime of Allah's apostle. We used to regard Abu Bakr as the best, then Umar, and then Uthman. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet said, "If I were to take a cowl, I would have taken Abu Bakr, but he is my brother and my companion in Islam." Narrated Ayyub, the Prophet said, "If I were to take a cowl, I would have taken him, i.e. Abu Bakr, as a cowl, but the Islamic Brotherhood is better." Narrated Ashbi, whenever Ibn Umar greeted Ibn Jafar, he used to say, "As-salamu alayka, i.e. peace be on you, O son of Duel Janahin, son of the two-winged person." Narrated Jabir, the Prophet said, every prophet used to have a Hawari, i.e. disciple, and my Hawari is a Zubair bin al-Awwam. Narrated Umar, before the Prophet died, he was pleased with him, Talha bin Ubaidullah. Narrated Abu Uthman, during one of the Ghazawat, in which Allah's apostle was fighting, none remained with the Prophet but Talha, and said, Narrated Qais bin Abi Hazim. I saw Talha's paralyzed hand, with which he had protected the Prophet from an arrow. Narrated Sad. No doubt, for some time I stood for 1/3 of the Muslims. Narrated Sad bin Abi Waqqas. No man embraced Islam before the day on which I embraced Islam, and no doubt I remained for 7 days as 1/3 of the then extant Muslims.